Yeah. So this language, when we are using the main use of the language is for the communication purpose. Okay. So in our day-to-day life, we are using different languages for different purposes. Okay. In the same way, in computer languages also, we have different languages which are used for different purposes. Okay. Example, if we use some language, okay, like Python example when we are talking, okay. So we are trying to use Python for some robotics programs, okay, to write something like that, which we are going to use. Okay, some other languages are also there. Okay, like C language, when you say there is one language called that is purely for the mission level.
Sir, your audio's off.
I know. Okay, I just put it off. Okay, so now, so you use the languages for different purposes, like mission level language. Mission language, when you say, right, you just turn on the computer and computer is running this operating system behind the scene, right? So what I learned is most of this is written using the C language. Okay, way back when it started. So those kind of languages we use it. Okay, some special particular type of language which we use. Similarly, why we use it for Python? Mainly for the robotics and also like some other games. So okay, I'm just giving one or two. There are multiple uses. Okay, as we go much into the language, we will be using, okay, we will be learning more about that particular language. Okay. Any other question you have?
No.
Okay.
Wait, so
Yeah.
like we speak a language, so it's like the same thing for um computers. Like
Yes.
if I speak English, then I'll speak another language for computers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here, like example, okay, it may like in the why we use this Python, right? For your question, mainly we use for the mission learning. Okay, one of the uses of Python language. We have so many uses. Example, we are just using it as a mission learning. Okay, and then we have something called as web development. Okay, you know web development. Do you have any idea of what is mean by web development?
I think I have an idea. Creating the web.
Yeah, it's like you put something like www dot some name, right? Like example, your school site itself, you put that, right? So
Yeah.
for that purpose, there is a code that is written, okay, or developed. So that particular purpose, we use this language. Okay. So unlike there are some automation related activities. You know what is mean by automation?
No.
Okay.
No.
So, and example, okay, automation, usually when we use the automation, okay, like example, you might have seen the Tesla car, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is some sort of automation is there in the car. Okay. So some sort of automation means I just tell you a couple of examples. Okay. We have a Hyundai Sonata. Okay. There is a button on the key. What is the key?
You're done.
With that button, what the car can do, it can automatically park. In the sense, it can move forward, it can move backward. Okay. Something
Well, so
like yeah.
so if you press the unlock button on
Yeah.
the key and the door's unlocked, is that an automation?
That is not kind of, but not totally. What I'm just trying to say is like, let us say you just lock the car and then there is a button to park. You can, without sitting in the car, without operating that, by sitting inside the car, you can still move the car a little bit forward, backward
Yeah.
by pressing a button. Okay. It is something like the automation kind of stuff. Okay. Even though like that particular situation, when when do you go for the automation? It is mainly when you want to do the same step multiple times. Okay. Same step, you want to do the multiple times or repetition kind of stuff, right? That is where we just most of the time we opt for the automation.
So it's like
Okay.
when a robot,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like when a
Robot.
robot,
Yeah.
like once you code what the robot has to do,
Yeah.
once you put it into the robot, is that like automation? Like the
Yes.
robot does what it's meant to do?
Yes. You need to feed. Okay. You need to tell what it has to do. And then it is the same steps it will follow every time. Right? So that way you are going to use the automation. Okay. And then it is something called as a testing we can use. Okay. So it is like you have something called as a testing, which it is some bigger words for you right now, but I would say mainly you just keep it for machine learning. Okay. Like web development, like websites which you know. Similarly for the automation and also robotics. Okay. You just keep it to that level right now. There are other ways which you have, okay, which we can go for that later, okay, as you get along. Fine. So that is the main purpose of this tool which we are going to use for the Python. Okay. And now, like when you are learning the Python, right? For any language for that matter, we are going to start learning with what exactly we need to learn, like as we discussed the other day, right? Let me just start a notepad. I'm just trying to share something. So, like the other day when we are talking about a language, right? So, what are the things which we need to learn, which we are going to learn about the language? We start something like the characters or alphabets, we start, right? With anything, any new language which you want to learn, you learn the alphabet, and also like you start with the words, small words which you're going to use, and then we slowly start with some phrases, and then we are going to talk about bigger phrases, in other words, right? Something like we just try to say chapters and then books, like this we slowly try to learn these things, right? So we start with alphabets for any language, and then slowly we are going to start with the next level is the words we are going to learn. Okay, like phrases. Like in English, how many alphabets you have? How many letters you have?
26.
26. Okay, we are just counting the same as lowercase, uppercase is the same. Okay, so it is like 26 letters you have. Likewise, if you just take other languages, right? Like example, if you just take Hindi, how many you have? Any idea? I believe it is something 56 letters. Okay, I think it is 56. Similarly, in Telugu, you have, I know in Telugu you have 56 letters. Okay, so when you want to learn the language, we are going to learn these letters first, right? In a similar way, in the same way,
There's
we
like
are going, yeah,
52. Yeah, there's
52,
52 letters in Hindi.
52. Okay, thank you for correcting me. Okay,
Well,
I think it is 52. Yeah, 56. I think in Telugu. I forgot totally. Okay, but something around that number. Okay. So like when you want to learn this, so we need to know all those letters. Okay. And then once you know the letters, we slowly start with the words. And then we put the words in a meaningful manner. Then we get the phrases. Okay. We put the words in a meaningful manner. Okay. Or even to get the words also, we need to put the words in a we need to put the letters or alphabets in a meaningful manner. Then you get the words, right? Just like this, you cannot write anything. Okay, like example, even if you want to write a word, you need to write it as W word, right? You cannot just write it as R O W D, something like this. Okay. And also, along with this, when you are just putting these words, when you're putting the letters in a meaningful order, you will be getting the words. And when you're going to use the words in a meaningful way or in a meaningful manner, we are going to get the phrases, right? And for that also, when you're trying to learn what all the things like along with this, we are going to learn the grammar, okay? How to write it, okay? You cannot just say whatever you want, okay? In any manner which you want, right? It has to be in a particular way you need to present. So that is a grammar we are going to have. We have the words, we have the letters, then the words, then meaningful way when you say we need to learn the grammar here in this particular programming language. When it comes to Python, again, how we are going to write, in what way we have to write, which has to make sense. That is what we are going to write we are going to learn in this program. Okay. And now when we go for these letters, right? So what are the letters we have? Okay, in this, what are the letters we are going to use? Or in Python, what are the characters we are going to use? Which we call it as a character set. Okay, here we know in English we just call it as alphabets, but in the computer terminology, we always call it as a character set. Okay. Why? What is mean by set?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why do they call it character set?
Yeah. I'm coming there. Okay.
I know.
Yeah.
They
Go
call
ahead.
it-
Set is like a set of numbers, right? You have like a few numbers and like one set is like characters. You have like a few characters in like one set, right?
Yeah. So, like in the language, when we use, right? So, like, let us say, even if I just limit to English, we say 26. All these 26 are letters A, B, C, D, like that, right? So, that is the alphabet. But when we are using it along with the letters, we use something else also, right? So like what all the characters we use when you are just trying to use it as in English, we use alphabet, right? Alphabets we use. Also we use some other symbols like a period we use, right? Question mark we use, exclamation we use, comma we use,
Punctuation.
numbers we use, right? Day to day, we use all these, right? So instead of just only talking the letters, when we are going to combine all this, we are calling it as a character set. Okay, it is set of all these characters, not just only the letters A, B, C, D, but we have all these other things also. That's why we are calling it as a character set. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to Python, hopefully you have a pen and paper and you may be copying this. Okay. And also, as we discussed, no phone. Okay. So you should be away from the phone. Okay. So concentrate here. Okay. So,
Well, unless you're logging in with your phone.
pardon?
Unless you're logging in with your phone.
That is, yeah, that is always there, right? So, yeah. So first of all, in this, what are the Python, what is Python character set you have? You have the letters as A to Z. Okay. And A to Z. Whereas when it comes to English, right? So we just use it as A to Z as the only one set, okay, uppercase or lowercase. But in case of these computer languages, depending on the language, right, there is a difference between small letter and the big letter, or lowercase letter or uppercase letter, okay. So that's why we separately write it as letters, okay, both we write. Similarly, we call it as the digits, okay, we call it 0 to 9, okay. 0 to 9 are digits, okay. Usually we can call 0 to 9 as numbers also, but we call 0 to 9 as digits, as any other number after 9 is a combination of, okay, any other number after 9 is a combination of one of, okay, more than one of these, okay, like 10, it is a combination of 1 and 0, 11, 1 and 1, 25, 2 and 5, right? So we call it as the digits here, 0 to 9. And then we call it as some special characters, we just call it as here, okay? Need not remember all this, but just have a idea, okay? So special symbols we call. Okay. What are the special symbols you use? Okay. If you look at your keyboard, you have the letter, you have the symbols like comma, here you have slash, you have, okay. Similarly, if you just look at the keyboard, you have the numbers 1 to 9, right? 1 to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0, right? So on those, you have some symbols, exclamation, at the rate, hash, dollar, percentage, like that you see the symbols, right? So those all called as a special symbols. At times, we use it for different purposes. Like example, simple, okay, if I just use it, right? Multiplication. How you write multiplication in the normal mathematics here? We write the small x, right? Example, if you want to write it as 2 times 5, you write like this, right? Whereas in the computer term world, like if you just write it as x, it is one more letter, like is part of these letters, right? Part of the letters. So for this purpose, what we write 2 star 5. This is called the multiplication. Similarly, division, right? How you write? You just put a dot, put a line, 1 dot on the top, 1 dot on the bottom, right? So that is where you write in the normal mathematics, division. But here, in one line, you cannot write that. Okay. So for that purpose, how will you use? Example, let us say 20 divided by, if I want to write 5. Okay, like this we write. So, but these kind of symbols, they are none of them, like they are not letters, they are not digits. Okay, that is why we call it as the special symbols. Okay, there should be some name. Okay, example like this, we use the special symbols. Okay, some other, like we use some more letters, some other. We use something else called as a white spaces. If I just press this enter, I just press the enter key. Okay, so do you know whether we press the enter key? Okay, like there are something like enter key, you have tab. Okay, you can just keep these two right now. Okay, don't worry about the other things. Enter and tab. Okay, so enter means enter key here. You have something called as in the keyboard, you have something called as enter word, right? So that is what you're going to have. Next one is a tab. Okay, tab means like, see, if I want to move 5 spaces or 4 spaces, okay, how you use? Okay, you need to press tab space for 5 times, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Instead of pressing like that, there is a mechanism. Okay, there is a key on the keyboard. If you're looking on the keyboard, there is something called as a tab. You just press tab, as you see, it is moving like that, right? In the tool which I am using, I believe it is having 5 spaces. Okay, most of the time tab will be 5 spaces, but there will be setting, okay, in the how many spaces it has to move. You should be able to set it up. Okay, like this. See, whenever I'm just pressing backspace, like this is coming, okay, one time like this. So these are some of the what is called as some of the character like letters or some of the this is part of character set. Okay, so these are all the part of character set. Okay, there are more, but as you learn, okay, as we go more, okay, we will be learning. But right now I would say you can just keep it to these things: letters, digits, special symbols, white spaces, are the enter and tab. Okay, so how to learn this? Okay, how to use these all? We are going to learn in the language. Any questions so far or clear?
Clear.
Okay. So now after this, right? So we use something called as, okay, we will learn more, okay, but just keep it as a word as token. Okay. So you just keep the word as tokens we are going to use. Then after this, first one is the character set. That is the first point. And the second one will be the tokens we are going to use here. Okay. In the language, when you're going to learn, we start with the character set and then we start learning the tokens. That is the second one. So what are the tokens we are going to have? Okay, something like, okay, we just call it as, I just only give the names, okay, and then we'll show you the Python, okay, then we come back, okay. Just give you the this one today. Keyword we call, and then identifier, and then we call literal, then operators, and then we have punctuators. Okay. Oh, I think I missed the word, right? Punctuators, yeah. So these are the 5 things which we are going to learn, and these are called as the tokens. Okay. So if you just look at these, right, the name, most of them, they give the name itself. Okay, like punctuation. What does it mean by punctuation? We use this
Like for capitals and some other punctuating of writing.
capital letter at the beginning, and also like it is a dot, okay, like exclamation, those kind of things, right? Just if you, most of these which we are learning, if you just try to think in a real world thing, right? So it is easy to understand. Most of them are named after the real world things. Okay. So keyword example. Keyword. What is the meaning of keyword? Means it is, see, we were talking about some English words the other day, if you remember. Something like and, are, example. Okay. So those kind of things are like who, okay, why. So those words, okay, they are already defined. We are going to use those words, right? So something like those words we are going to use as the keywords, okay? So it is specially, there is a meaning that is defined here, okay? Like example, int, okay? Like example, we use float, character, something like this, okay? When you're going to use, it is called as a keyword. Means in the system, okay, or in the language, there is a meaning already defined. Okay, is means is, that's all. Okay, we are not going to change the meaning of it. Okay, so like those kind of words we are going to use. Okay, there is minimum number of words will be there. We will come across all those one by one as we start learning the language more. Okay, similarly, identifiers when we are going to use, right? So most of the time when we are going to use these identifiers, okay, it is something like when we are going to give a name to give a name, okay, like each and every one is having a name, right? So instead of just simply calling it with particular name, like a generic common name, we are going to give a particular name, and that is where we are going to use the identifiers we are going to call. Okay, so it is like if I want to write a like example, okay, I'm just trying to write some program, okay, which you will learn in a while, okay, soon. Then in that case, what we are going to use is like an example. If I just want to write, give a number to the computer, and then the computer has to return back whether it is a even number or odd number. Example, okay. Now, when I want to give a number to the computer, how how I will give the number? Something like I say, okay, you just take a number. I'm just calling it as, okay, what is the number one? Okay, I'm just giving a name as number one to that particular. Number one could be 5, number one could be 8, number one could be 23, 28, 23, something like this. So at this particular time, we just call it as a number one as a identifier to identify something, okay? Like you say, boy, okay? Just simply calling it as a boy, or we are just taking a particular person name, that is something like the identifier we are going to identify it, okay? So who is that boy? Example, okay? So that boy could be anyone, okay, at that time. Like one time, I'm just taking the names here from our class only, okay? One time I say Ram, okay? And the second time I just say Hitesh. But the name can be like name of a boy, okay? So here. So the name can be different for different people, okay, or different boys, the name is different. Similarly girls, okay, so like I say Nitila, okay, example, or Sloka. So like this, when you have it, so it is a name with which we are going to identify, that's called as a number one, or boy is the identifier. Actual value in that, it is a little bit different at times, okay. So don't get confused, okay? So don't get too much of that one, okay? You learn more of these things in a while, okay?
So identifiers are basically the computer finding out what you're trying to say to it.
Yeah,
It's like
And
your brain.
it is like, we are just trying to give it as, okay, I'm going to give a boy's name, example, okay? We are just going to say, I'm going to have a name here, okay? Name. For that particular name, name could be anyone, right? It could be anyone's name there. So we are just going to tell to the computer, okay, that I'm going to give a name. And now what it is going to do after giving the name, that we are adding the next instructions, okay? For this point, we just have it as only name, like I just put it as number.
but I'm confused about keyword. Like I'm still confused about that.
Yeah, we'll learn that, okay? Like example, I am just telling, right? Let us say you want to store and we are talking about the number, okay? Now I say I am going to store a number. I am going to ask the computer about whether this particular number is a even number or odd number. Okay. Now we have to tell to the computer that we are going to give a number, right? When you are going to give the to the computer that I am going to give a number, you need to take the number and put it at some place, like we are writing on somewhere on the paper, right? So you need to write somewhere, you need to store it. So that purpose, we try to use it as it is like I'm going to say, I will use an integer type, okay? So in mathematics, you have integers, okay, floating, real numbers, natural numbers, all those numbers will come, right? So I'm going to say number. Number could be, okay, so it is like example, I can write it as 2 or 2.5. Okay, example. In the computer terminology or even in mathematics also, there is a difference between writing 2 or 2.5. Okay, so 2 means it is just an integer number, it's called, or integer you can call it as. Whereas this is something like a real number, which you call in mathematics, which we are just going to call it as a float number. Wherever you have a point, okay, simple logic, okay. If you have point, that is a float number. If you don't have a point, that is an integer number. Okay. We will talk more about the keywords to understand you about these particular things. I'm just giving an example of what are we are going to have. Okay, like this. Similarly, operators. Okay, I'll skip literals for now. I'll just come back to this. Okay, but operators, simple, plus, minus. Okay, something like this. Okay, we are going to use this like operators which you can use. Actually, we have more, less than, greater than kind of stuff. Okay, so which we can use it here. Okay, and now, so before going further, I would like to switch, and also we just try to show you basic stuff which we are going to have in the Python. Okay, and after this, I will be sharing you one document. Okay, I think it is, I'll be sharing with the parents here. Okay, in the group. This is how we are going to install it. Okay, we are making the document here. How to, what are the things that we need to download into the computer here. Okay. So I see different options. Even if you are using Mac, you have the option here. Similarly,
Wait.
here also you have Mac. Yeah,
I have a question.
sure.
So, like, are we doing that right now, or are you sending that into the group?
This I'm going to sending it to the group. Okay, but before this, we want to show you the Python, how it looks. Okay, a small program we want to use, and then I start installing. Okay, with time permitting.
Okay.
Okay, so but before that, okay, we just want to have it as a installation, like sorry, to show you how the simple programs, like small programs, like you want to print your name. Okay, so how you are going to tell to the computer using Python language, and how it is going to show it back to you. Okay, using the Python language, as we were talking different commands the other day, right? What is your name in English, right? So if anyone is Telugu is there, right? So what is your name? No, sorry, ni parenti. Okay, in Telugu, something like that. When you use similar language, right? So here we are going to show you how these small commands, okay, will be used. Then we'll come back, and then we'll try to use the installer option, okay, which I did not install on my system yet, to show it to you guys. So I'm going to do that after this small demo with the Python option. Okay, clear?
Yep. There.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just stopping the share here. One second. So we are just showing it from the computer, which is where we are already having the Python installed. Okay. And then we'll come back and then we'll show you in a fresh installation. Okay, I think a little small change. Okay, I think things did not work as planned. Okay, but anyway, I'm going to show you the installation part. Okay, so here, if I just open this document here, the first part which we have to use is the download Python installer. Okay, so this is when we just click on this, right? So it just goes
Hey,
here.
Mr.
Okay.
Sridhar, are you sharing something? It's not visible if you're sharing something.
Sorry, I thought I was sharing. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the document which we will be sharing immediately after the session. So we just need to open this Python downloads. Okay. And then, okay, I just open this. I actually have the Excel for only the exe file that is downloaded in my system. So I will be opening again here. So it says that's fine, file not found. If you just go to the downloads, click on this Python 3.12.2. Okay. So once you click on that, it opens the downloads. Okay. So this one, we just need to go for the downloads, and then we need to go for the click on this option. Okay. Now here, install now. You will try to install here. Because my laptop, I think most of our laptops are nowadays 64-bit. I choose that 64-bit option here. So at your terminal, it clearly says, okay, type py to launch Python, okay? So or Python in your start menu. It is installed here. So you're able to see the other screen, right? Now here, you just type Python. Okay, I think I need to set some parameters. Okay, so I just started with this. Okay, we'll take the session. Okay, we'll continue on Wednesday to see these options here, and also we will be opening the installer, and also we'll try to make sure. Okay, the parameter, there is some configuration that needs to be done. The parameters has to be set. I will be setting up those parameters. We'll include those commands also in the document, and will be giving you the information. Okay. So thank you all for your session today. Okay. Thank you all for your time. Any questions, you can always reach out, okay, through the email or in the group conversation. You can try to show us. Okay. Try to communicate with us, and anytime we are reachable.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye. Thanks for the session.
Bye.
Thank you.